What's up, everybody? It's the Mayhem once again, and unless you've been living under a rock, you know that politics in the United States are extremely divided, extremely polarized, very chaotic, very, very sad. Um, from a lot of social issues having to do with gun control, how do we deal with terrorism? Should we build the wall on the southern border of the United States? Extreme vetting. How do we deal with, Puerto Rico? Are they a state or are they not a state? Should we treat them like a state? Should we make them a state? That's up in the air right now. We just recently had a terrorist attack happen in New York. Uh, we're still kind of healing from the Las Vegas shooting. Just a lot of crazy things happening in this world. People kneeling for the national anthem. People are saying, is this a matter of, respecting the troops or respecting the country, or should we just respect the flag and stand for it no matter what? Whatever, side of the aisle you fall under, I think it's important that we know the different terms. Because on social media, I'll see people getting in debates, and I'll see people say, you're a social justice warrior, liberal cuck, crybaby, snowflake, blah, blah, blah. And what I see a lot of is people conflating liberalism with leftism. So I think it's extremely important that if we're going to make sense out of all this chaos, we should at least know what the difference is between a liberal and a leftist. Now, I am a liberal, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you haven't been able to figure it out yet, or if this is the first video you've seen by me, I am a liberal. I say that proudly. I say that unapologetically. Now, there's a lot of people who are going to call me a cuck, a snowflake, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck what they think. Because you know what? I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And I know I'm not a crazy leftist lunatic. So, what is a liberal? Well, liberals tend to fall on the left side of the aisle. What does this mean exactly? People on the left tend to be more for bigger government. We tend to be for more taxes and more government funded programs. We also tend to be for regulation. We tend to be anti-war, not anti-military, but anti-war. People who are liberal tend to be anti-gun, or at least for responsible gun ownership. That is a talking point that liberals like to use quite a bit. We tend to be we're pro-choice. And if you're on the right, then you're obviously pro-life, so on and so forth. With that being said, there is nuance to being a liberal. First of all, I am military, which means I am very much pro-military, and by association, I am pro-gun. I have to be pro-gun because in my career field, I'm required to carry a gun, so I have to be pro-gun. I love guns anyways. I shoot in my free time. Something else. I am pro-choice, but I do understand the pro-life argument. I am not pro-abortion. I don't think abortion should just be given out, to anybody who just happens to have a whoopsie. I think that there should be certain circumstances where an abortion should be taken into consideration. For example, if it's a rape baby, if it's an incest baby, if the baby doesn't have any chance of surviving, if it will hurt the mother, that kind of stuff. Medical complications for the most part. But I'm not for abortions for everybody. Like, whoever wants to get them, just get an abortion, whatever. No, I'm not. That is not my, view on it. I am for regulation. I think regulation is a great thing. The only thing I would abolish is the FCC. I don't think we need the FCC. I think the media should flow freely. I think we should be able to see and be exposed to anything we want. I don't think rating movies and music really helps anything. I think if you want to hear music with curse words, you're going to hear music with curse words. I don't think they should be able to control how many times somebody says fuck, and so on and so forth. I don't think we need rules for the media. 100% against the FCC. But as far as food and water consumption, maintaining safe levels of chemicals in the water and that kind of thing, yeah, I'm for that. I'm for regulation. Meat quality has to be a certain point. Health inspectors inspecting places where I like to eat, like fast food restaurants and stuff like that. I think there needs to be a certain level of accountability there. Let me see. I am for paying higher taxes, not because I want to pay higher taxes. Obviously, I'm not that rich, and I don't have that money to spend. However, I do realize that some people sometimes need help. However, I do realize that some people abuse the system, especially with food stamps. And I've seen this firsthand. I used to work in a grocery store where people would, they would abuse the WIC program, they would abuse the food stamps program and the SNAP card program, and they would always get like, you would see them buying like all this food, a lot of which they wouldn't even eat. I'd see them there every day, just maxing out, just filling up their cart full of crap. And then I'd see them eating like lobster and buying liquor and buying cigarettes and lottery tickets and shit. Just abusing the system and sucking it dry. So I understand there is definitely a problem with people who apply for food stamps, get it, and abuse it, and don't work and aren't even trying to get a job. There's definitely a problem with that. I'm not of the opinion that you should have a drug test to, be approved for it. However, if you're spending all your money on drugs and still getting money from the government to buy food, there's definitely a problem there. I think those people need to get helped, and so, for so on and so forth. Leftism is completely different, okay, from liberalism. Liberalism is more of a political belief and ideology. You tend to just, your views tend to be more on the left. But leftism is typically like, your views are on the left, but you're more militant. For example, if you're for LGBT rights, which I am for, but if you're for LGBT rights, anybody who disagrees with you, you're for silencing them. Anyone who, might disagree with affirmative action, you will automatically call them racist. Anybody who might be critical of the people kneeling for the flag, you'll just call them, entitled brats or whatever. Oh no, you're a racist. You're a racist. That's not my position. I look at things objectively. I don't try to put people in either a black or white category. I try to at least hear the other side out. I'm what you would call a moderate liberal. On some issues, I actually am a conservative, but I tend to lean more in the Democratic area, and I tend to vote democratically more than often. A lot of people like to make the platitudes about, oh, well, the KKK was actually the original party of the Klan. As everybody well knows, political parties change over hundreds of years, just as the Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of the Klan back then that they are today. Actually, a lot of people who associate with being in the Klan are actually conservatives today. It's even arguable, and I don't know if this is proven or not, but Martin Luther King, back when he was fighting Jim Crow, was, I think, a registered Republican. Again, I could be wrong, but nowadays you could argue that he would probably fall on the left on a lot of issues. So, guys, it's really not, an accurate way of saying, oh, well, the Democrats are part of the Klan. That is a fact, but nowadays it's really not an accurate portrayal of the Democratic Party. Let me see, what else? Now, if you're a conservative, conservatives tend to be very much pro-military. They are nationalist. They tend to be pro-life. They tend to be, let me see, I already said pro-gun. They are for immigration reform. They don't want too many people entering the country, especially people who are going to cause trouble. They tend to be more nationalistic, while liberals tend to be more multiculturalist. Me, I was a multiculturalist at one point in my life, but I'm starting to move toward the nationalist argument because there are a lot of people coming into our country causing a lot of problems. And I'm witnessing it firsthand in Europe, especially the UK. They're having a lot of problems with certain populations in that country, and it's starting to get a little out of hand over there. So that's just my belief. Agree, disagree, whatever. Something else, LGBT rights. I am for LGBT rights. However, I'm not for LGBT rights uh, eclipsing everyone else's rights. Okay, it's a conversation we need to have. These people should be treated just like everyone else, but that does not mean just because they are LGBT that they get special privileges that no one else gets, and it doesn't mean that no one else can criticize them, and it doesn't mean that they get their own safe spaces, and it doesn't mean that we need to protect their feelings. It means we should respect them as, U.S. citizens, and we should give them the same rights as every other U.S. citizen. But we shouldn't be not allowed to criticize or at least have a discussion about it. So the same way that people are conflating liberalism with leftism, a lot of people are conflating people who are conservatives with either the Klan or neo-Nazis or the alt-right, which is not correct. People on the alt-right technically aren't even that right. A lot of their ideologies fall on the liberalism side of things. But they call themselves the alt-right because they like a lot of the rhetoric that the current president holds, even though the president has time and time again refuted and repudiated these people for doing and saying some of the things they do. The point I'm trying to make is, if we're going to make sense out of all this chaos, if we're going to make sense of all this, all this nonsense, then we need to at least know the terms and know what we're talking about, as far as what we're calling each other and what we're defining ourselves as. So guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys like politics as much as I do. I took some political science courses back when I was in college, so I don't get to talk about it with people on this level, especially with other people that I know, because a lot of them don't take interest in politics. They say, oh yeah, well I voted for this guy because he's awesome, but they don't really know anything about him. They just know their star power or whatever, and they don't really understand the nuance of actual political discussions. They don't even know what constituencies are, or how Congress works, or what a governor actually does, or how state legislature works. They don't understand these conversations. So if you're into politics as much as I am, please hit me up in the comments below. I love talking politics with people. I love debating it. It's always an interesting time. So guys, thanks again for watching. This is the Mayhem once again. Peace the fuck out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.